Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a bit of a longer video and we'll be talking about Corviknight. It has a really solid 98 HP, which is good for its 105 physical defense, but what makes Corviknight really indestructible is its excellent steel flying typing. We're only weak to a fire and electric, which can be easily covered by teammates, along with a ton of good resistances. With iron defense, body pressed, and roost to keep us healthy, it can work as a really good late game sweeper. This is a Pokemon that I love, it fits on teams so easily because of its great defensive typing. And let's jump into our first match here. Starting off with our first match here, my opponent leads off with their Galvantula, as I counter with my Chinchino. I kind of expected the Galvantula opener just because they might want to get Sticky Webs up, and if they're not Choice Scarfed or anything, Chinchino actually outspeeds this, and a Rock Blast will kill it. So, I really want to not get Sticky Webs on my side, and yeah, the Rock Blast is gonna... I have the loaded dice item, so I'm guaranteed 4 hits. But 3 is going to do it, and that's going to take it out. And that's going to be... It sucks to be down 1 on the first turn. I hate to I hate to do it, but it also prevents any Sticky Webs from being on my side now. And as they can go into whatever they want, they do go into Cinderace here. And I'm pretty sure this is faster than me, but I don't really have a lot of good like Cinderace switch-ins, so I decided to go into my own Cinderace here. I'm expecting like a Pyro Ball or something, and I want to take as little as I can from that. And we'll see as I switch here into my own with 2 Cinderace on the field. They actually go for a high jump kick, so it's going to do way more than Pyro Ball would have done. It actually leaves me on 4 HP, and I'm like, well, crap, maybe I can get a big Pyro Ball off of my own, but they win the speed tie, so they do finish me off with a U-turn. I was thinking that a Pyro Ball would have done a ton of damage to that, because they lost their fire typing, but they won the speed tie there, so they got the U-turn off. I would have loved to get that Pyro Ball chip on that Cinderace, but whatever. And now as they can go whatever they want, they go into Great Tusk, who is very scary and also kind of problematic for this team. But I go into my Corviknight here, I decided to pull it out. I figured that there's not really anything this can do to me, and I can maybe start getting some iron defenses up to get some powerful body presses off, but it looks like all they really have to stop me is going to be that Greninja. And they actually set up Stealth Rock. I don't have Defog on this Corviknight because I just try to have other hazard removal on the team. And also, Corviknight has a really bad case of like 4 move slot syndrome. There's kind of like so many options you can run with this that it's kind of hard to pick just 4. But I click U-turn here, kind of imagining that they might switch because there's, with my iron defense up, this thing can't touch me at all, but they actually stay in, and I ended up getting the U-turn off, so I kind of, like, waste my iron defense here. I was kind of expecting them to switch into, like, Greninja or something I could get a cool pivot on, but they do just stay in, so I decide to bring out my Darkrai here, as I'm pretty sure that I have Life Orb on this. I'm pretty sure that a Life Orb Ice Beam could just kill this thing from whatever it's at, but even from full, probably this could kill, Great Tusk has like no special defense, so I go for my Ice Beam here. They actually stay in, which is awesome because that's gonna be a big physical block out of the way. They got their rocks up. I could tidy up those away later if I find the chance, but I'm not really super interested in that. And now as they can go into whatever they want, they go back into the freaking Scorbunny, or the Cinderace, and I check here. I don't really have anything that switches into this, so I decide to stay in and just go for a Dark Pulse. I know that I'll outspeed, and 2 should be able to do it, but I do lose some from the Life Orb, and they flinch, so that's so awesome. And I hate to see the flinch. I hate to do the flinch, but it worked out for me this time, so I do get the second Dark Pulse off, and that's going to take out the Cinderace. It's just, the flinch was really helpful there, because I really don't have anything that, like, is fast enough or strong enough to handle the Cinderace, but I probably could have followed it up with a quick attack from my Scyther that I have. And now as they go into Greninja, I consider staying in, excuse me, and I decide to switch into my Florges here. I am max HP with an Assault Vest, so I figure that I can probably take a ton of special, like, I can take special attacks all day on this thing, and they don't really have any other strong special attackers, so I figure it's fine using it on this. And as they go for a Hydro Pump, with the Protean, it's actually going to do a good bit, but it doesn't bring me down to half. And I have the Giga Drain coverage for this, but they're actually going to go for their Terra here. And as they Terra into a Water type, it's going to be to boost up more damage on that Hydro Pump, but I'm telling you, Florges is like no joke with the Assault Vest. And as they go for a Hydro Pump, it's going to be Terra boosted. Now, they probably have the specs or something. It's doing a ton of damage to me. And I actually live it with 15. And I'm able to Giga Drain them back. It doesn't quite knock them out, though. And the healing is not going to bring me enough to take another one, is the thing. And I decided to just Terra Water. I have the Water Terra on this just as a good defensive Terra to have. So I do Terra here. Very cool in the blue flower form. It's like a little water fountain with flowers and stuff. I love Florges, but now I am going to be able to resist it, definitely take as many Hydro Pumps as they have, probably. And yeah, it's going to do almost half of what I have, which is like nothing, and the Giga Drain is going to finish it off. I get the crit there. I wish I had gotten it the first turn to just knock it out, but sometimes it happens. And that's going to take out their Greninja, and also their Terra. I did have to use up my Terra to get rid of this, but it's not so bad. I don't really need it on anything else. And it's looking like with the special attackers out of the way, Corviknight is going to have a really good time in this late game now with what they have left. So they go into their Crocodile here, and now it's basically... gets the Intimidate off, it doesn't matter. And now it's basically Corviknight time. I know that this thing doesn't really have anything that can touch me. And as I switch here, I'm going to go into the Night. Crocodile can be scary late game. It can stack Moxie boosts. Or this one's Intimidate, so it doesn't even matter. But it can theoretically stack Moxie boosts. And as I come in, I take a little bit from the rocks. And I actually have pressure on this just because it's more like a stallier defensive one. And they do just Earthquake, which is awesome. It's like a free switch in. And I just decided to go for an Iron Defense here. I kind of want to just start stacking up my defense boosts. As they go for a Crunch, it actually does a good bit to me. And they are revealed to be Life Orb. So after the Life Orb, it is going to start chipping them down a little bit every turn. As I do get the defense raised now with my Iron Defense, I just go for the Roost here just to be safe. They click Close Combat, which is awesome because now it's going to even drop their defenses. And they do take a little more Life Orb chip. But with my Roost up now, Roost is going to keep me healthy. I'm at +2 physical defense, and there's not really anything they can do to me with this or the King Gambit they have in the back. So I just go for a Body Press here. And they could switch out, but they don't want them to switch probably on a Body Press. So they decided to just stay in and Crunch. And a Body Press is going to be way more than enough to take out a Crocodile. I probably didn't even need the Iron Defense for that. The Iron Defense is good because it boosts up your defense as well as your offense for the move Body Press. So it's kind of like, it makes you bulkier on the physical side, but it also like powers up this move crazy. And now as they go into their last Pokemon, the King Gambit, it does have the Supreme Overlord, which I think is just a +1 if there's 5 Pokemon dead. And they go for that Sucker Punch, which is going to not even do anything to me. And then my Body Press is going to be enough to kill probably 40 King Gambits. And that's going to wrap up our first match here. Kind of shows how if you can, like, take care of the special threats, Corviknight can be a really good defensive wall. And now we'll get into our next battle. For the next match here, my opponent leads off with Enamorous Therian, who you never see. This is kind of a weird Pokemon. I probably only have battled against it like once or twice. And I lead off with my Corviknight because I was kind of expecting a Meowscarada lead, but they don't. So I switch into my Florges here just to tank a special attack. I don't want to get, like, Flamethrower or Fire Blast or anything this thing can learn that'll really mess me up. But as I switch, they go for a Mystical Fire. So they actually, yeah, I was wrong, it wasn't. It was Mystical Fire, but it drops my special attack, but I can basically sit in here all day, and I just go for a Moonblast, because if they stay in, it'll do a big chunk, and they do. But it also does a good bit to all of their team. I am max special attack modest on this Florges. I have max HP and special attack. So I actually do get a big, you know, good damage with Moonblast. And as they miss a Springtide Sword, I go for one more Moonblast. Just going to keep chipping it down. They go for a Draining Kiss, which is such a small amount of damage, it doesn't even really matter. It does heal them back a little bit, because I have that max HP, I think. But I'm just going to keep chipping at them with Moonblast. They don't look like they're really going to switch or anything, so I'm just going to keep trying to wear them down as much as I can. And as they go for another Moonblast, it is not going to be enough to kill them this one because they got that healing, but they go for another Springtide Storm and it misses, and I kind of sucks because I wanted to see the animation for this, but it doesn't matter, and I know that one more Moonblast is going to do it. We saw that I outspeed. And that's another way you can kind of take care of a Mon early in the match without having to use any resources. It's 2 Springtide Storm misses. And now they can go into whatever they want, and the thing is with these defensive Pokemon is it's kind of like a sink in momentum. And as they go into Tinkaton, I can't stay in here at all because a Gigaton Hammer is going to blow me away. So I do just switch into my own Cinderace again. This is the same team as the last battle. And as I go to my Cinderace again, I know that a Pyro Ball will blow this thing away, but it'll also do a ton of damage to like anything that switches in. And as they Gigaton Hammer, it actually does less than half to me, so that's great. And I'm like, if they want to stay in and try to get more damage, they can, but if they want to switch out on anything, a Pyro Ball is going to do a ton of damage to all switch outs. And they actually do switch out here. And I'm like, alright, please land a Pyro Ball. It's only 90% accurate. And as they go into Mewtwo, sick Dusk Ball because it's from the cave. I go from my Pyro Ball, and it does over half to this Mewtwo. And the problem is I'm slower, but I do have the Sucker Punch, so if they attack me here, my Sucker Punch will go first. And they do, and I have the Libero, so become a Dark type and get bonus stab on that. So that takes out the Mewtwo. And now I'm kind of good. That was one of their faster Pokemon. That's probably all they had. That was probably the fastest Pokemon on the team. So I'm glad to be rid of that. Kind of make room for my other Pokemon. And like I said, it's about like getting rid of these special attackers. So they go into Dialga here, and I decided to just hard switch into my Corviknight here. I'm like, there's no real reason not to, unless this thing has Flamethrower or something, but I doubt it. And as I switch into my Corviknight here, I can take basically any special attack from this thing, and if it's like a physical attacker, we know that I can take that. And as they Earth Power, it actually does not affect me because I'm flying. It's that great typing. It's like you can switch in on so many things. So I just go right for an Iron Defense here, as they hard switch into their Ogerpon Hearth Flame. This is like one of the scariest Pokemon in a super cute Love Ball. And as they come in, I do get an Iron Defense here, and I consider using my Terra. I'm Terra Water on this Corviknight also, but I don't want to make myself vulnerable to the Meowscarada. And Flower Trick will crit through my defense boost, so I don't want to be like weak to a Flower Trick. So I kind of have to focus on eliminating this Ogerpon, and as I switch into my Scyther, it's kind of like just, if they set up, that would have been cool, but it was more just like a sack. And it is going to take me out. I think I'm Eviolite on this even, but it's so strong. Ogerpon is so strong, and IV Cudgel is such a powerful move. So as I go into my Cinccino now, I'm like, I know that I can outspeed this thing, and also I'm thinking a Rock Blast kills just because a Cinccino is strong and Rock Blast is strong. So I go right for my Rock Blast. I know that I outspeed. I think Cinccino's like 119 base speed or something. But it looks like, from that first hit, it looks like 4 hits is not going to be enough. We need the 5 hits to get the KO. And we don't freaking get it. And so it does live on just a couple HP. And it actually has Superpower, which is weird coverage on this, but it helps out here. And IV Cudgel would have done it probably. But as they get the attack and defense drop, that's pretty cool, but that's going to be it for Cinccino. We appreciate the Rock Blast while we had it. And as I can go into whatever I want, I know that Darkrai is going to outspeed this. The only reason I didn't go into this before was because I didn't want to, like, they have 2 Steel types, and I was like, I don't want to Sludge Bomb on, like, 2 Steel types, all the 2 Steel types they have. But I do decide to bring in Darkrai now, just finish this off with a Dark Pulse. If they do switch, nothing will, it looks like it would do a good bit to anything except the Tinkaton, but they don't switch, so it doesn't let they finish it off. And now I kind of have them down to this Dialga, Tinkaton, and Meowscarada, which are all kind of walled by Corviknight. It's these late games. If you can like eliminate the Pokemon that Corviknight is weak to, then it just kind of goes so crazy. And as I basically can switch in for free on this, Corviknight can switch into Meowscarada for free all day. There's like, I'm a max defense Corviknight. I think the most damage a Meowscarada can do to me is probably like a triple Axle with that stab boost from the Protean. So I come in with Corviknight, and they actually go for a Play Rough, which is like best case scenario, because it's barely going to scratch me, and they are going to take some chip from my Rocky Helmet. And that is barely going to do it. And I'm like, well, I'm going to start setting up my Iron defenses. They don't really have anything left that threatens me at all, unless, like I said, they have like Flamethrower, or maybe Thunderbolt or something on Dialga. And they actually stay in, they go for a knockoff, but the Protean already turned them into a Fairy type, so they lose their stab on that knockoff, so it does not as much damage as it could have even. And I get my Iron defense up, so now it's time to just start body pressing. So I go for a Roost here, I think, on this first turn, because I want to be as healthy as I can, and if they decide to hit me again, I want to make sure I'm as healthy as I can. They go for another knockoff at +2 defense, it's non-stab, and also I have no item, so it barely hurts me. That's the other cool thing about Corviknight, is you're kind of like fine to get knocked off with the Rocky Helmet, because you don't really need it, but it also just lets you take less damage. Now they go for a Flower Trick, which is going to bypass my defense boosts, but I double resist Grass. And again, they lost the stab on this Meowscarada when they became a Fairy type, so my Body Press does just a ton of damage to it. And I'm kind of like, I think I can just keep Body Pressing forever, because if they're not gonna switch. But they do switch here, and they're gonna bring out the Tinkaton on my Corviknight. The only thing that scares me now is like an Encore. I don't want to be Encored into this, but earlier from the Gigaton Hammer, I kind of was like, maybe it's like more of an offensive Tinkaton, I'm not sure. And I do get to +4 defense now. And now I can really start body pressing. We know this thing is a physical attacker, so it's not going to be able to do any damage to me. And as they do go for Gigaton Hammer, it does like 3 damage to me at +4 defense. And then my body press is going to knock it down to its... not its Focus Sash, it has the Focus Band item. Which is like the Focus Sash, but it only has a 10% chance of proccing. But it can proc like every turn. So I just go for another body press to finish this thing off. I kind of had them checkmated. And they do decide to just save the life of their Dialga, Meowscarada, and Tinkaton. But we kind of had him in a good position, and we'll get into our last battle now. For our last match here, my opponent leads off with Ursaluna. This is a really scary, powerful physical Pokemon. As I lead up with my Corviknight, I was kind of expecting it. And I decide to switch here on this first turn. I go for a U-turn just because I expect that they switch. I kind of over-predict here. I can't imagine why an Ursaluna would ever stay in against Corviknight, but they do stay in, and I did just get the U-turn off, which does barely any damage, but now I'm like, well damn, what wants to come into an attack from that? So I decide to switch in my Noivern here. It doesn't look like it's going to be a ton of help for this battle, just looking like they're not going to have any hazards or anything I'm going to have to get rid of. So as I come in with my Noivern, they go for a Fire Punch, so it kind of reveals like they wanted to stay in and Fire Punch my Corviknight, but had I known that, I could have just Iron Defensed in it. You don't want to get the Iron Defense Body Press too early. That's like more of a late game thing. But now I'm like, well, I really don't want to switch. Now I'm just going to go for a Draco just to get as much chip as I can. But they are going to Terra here, and it is going to be classic Ursaluna Terra normal. Just to power up a Facade, I wish I had switched back to my Corv on this. Just knowing that I'm faster and I can get like body presses and stuff. But they do decide to Terra. I get my Draco. I actually connect on the Draco Meteor, which does a ton of damage. It's really helpful. So I'm glad that we got some use at a Noivern, but Noivern is very frail and cannot take a a guts-boosted Terra Normal Facade from Ursaluna. So as they get that off, that's just going to be the end of that, the end of my Noivern. But now I can go into whatever I want. I know that my Corviknight is faster, and I was like, damn, if I had known that they were going to just... if all they had was Fire Punch, I could have just Iron Defense and started body pressing, but... no skin off my back, so I can just go for... I know that I outspeed, I go for a body press here. And that is going to just take care of the last couple HP this Ursaluna has. But also, I had to lose my Noivern, which sucks. It didn't look like it was going to be super helpful, but it would have been nice to have something so fast. But it would have been helpful to have it later, just to have that speed tier. But it's good to take care of their Terra so early. I'm glad that the Ursaluna used their Terra so early so they can't have it the rest of the match. And as they go into... this thing, I'm like, okay, well, I can't stay in Iron Defense Body Press just because Flare Blitz is going to do so much. So I decide to U-turn here, and they actually Fake Out on this first turn, which barely does anything to me. Does more to them in the Rocky Helmet than it does to me in damage, which is nice, but I do flinch, unfortunately. And now I'm like, well, now I better U-turn out of here. I actually end up outspeeding again. Corviknight is not very fast, but I just keep outspeeding all this slow stuff. It gets a crit, which is some nice more chip than I thought I was going to get, but... now, kind of expecting a Flare Blitz, I'm like... I don't really have a lot that does well with that, so I go into... this team just doesn't do well with fire types, and especially because my Noivern is dead. Physical fire moves are, like, crazy, but... they do Flare Blitz into my Cinderace, it does just a little bit of damage. And they do take a little from the recoil, and I'm just gonna U-turn out of here, or Pyro Ball, I'm sorry, I Pyro Ball this first turn, just to get as much damage as I can. I know that I don't really have anything that's good into this Corviknight on this team, so I just go for the Pyro Ball again. This Pyro Ball is going to do a little bit, not a whole lot, but they just go for a knockoff. It's going to be their best damage against me, and it looks like one more is going to kill me. So I go for a U-turn here. I'm like, I want to get as much chip as I can off on this thing, and in case they switch, it'll give me a good position. So I do become the Bug type. I get a U-turn. It does a good bit to this Cinderace. It is going to proc its Citrus Berry, which is stupid. And it does get a bunch back from the Figgy Berry. Oh, that's not even a citrus berry. That's like the special one. It's like one of the special ones. And as I'm just pivoting all over the place, I'm like, let me go back into... I'm just going to redo what I did that first turn. I'm just going to go back into my Corviknight here and try to pick this thing off, knowing that I'm faster than it. And as I switch, they do go for a knockoff again to finish me off, but also now it gets rid of my Rocky Helmet. But with that chip, it is going to put them in range of a body press now. I don't have to boost up or anything, so one body press is gonna... This kind of shows how Corviknight can kind of just pop in here and there. I wasn't expecting it to have this kind of matchup this early on, but it looks like they have a lot of physical attackers. And as they can go into whatever they want now, I'm not really in a super great position with Corviknight. I lost my Rocky Helmet, which sucks. But they go into Hippowdon here, and Hippowdon usually doesn't carry anything that can hurt Corviknight, so I just go for a Iron Defense on this first turn that the Hippowdon is in. I want to try to just start boosting up, maybe. I know that every Hippowdon has, like, Roar and Whirlwind and stuff, but I want to try to do as much as I can. They get their Stealth Rocks up. I was kind of expecting that, so I was like, maybe I can boost up some damage. And I'm also not going to be taking any chip from the Sandstorm, so it's, like, no reason to really stay in. But I go for the Body Press here just to get as much damage as I can. I'm like, if they do have Whirlwind, they're going to start it now. And it actually hurts me back with their Rocky Helmet, and then they do have the Roar, so that's going to force out my Corviknight. And it actually brings in my Zangoose here. And this Zangoose cannot really do anything to this Hippowdon. I have Ice Punch on this, but it's not going to do a whole lot. And as I come in, I take damage from the Stealth Rocks, and then I take Sandstorm Chip, so I'm like, well, I really don't want to stay in now. So I switch, I just hard switch here into Corviknight. I'm like, they probably only have Earthquake as an attack, and I want to try to avoid any damage on anything that I might need later. I lost my Noivern, which is like super fast, so I'm like, I need the quick attack on Zangoose just in case. But as I switch, they actually Roar again, so it seems like they're really committed on just like staying in here and clicking Roar, which I'm fine with wasting these sand turns, but the Roar actually brings in my Darkrai, and as I am kind of sitting here staring at this thing, I'm like, well, a Life Orb, I do take a little from the rocks and the Sandstorm, and I'm also Life Orb on this, so I'm going to take more chip even. But as I'm kind of looking at this, I'm like, well, if I know I hit outspeed and a Life Orb, Ice Beam just knocks this thing out. So I do that, and it takes out the Hippowdon. So there's going to be no more roaring shenanigans, no more pushing me around. And it's kind of whittling down what they have left. I am scared of the Goodra, who probably is really specially defensive, but also they have an Iron Valiant, who could be faster than my Darkrai with a booster speed. And as they do bring in the Iron Valiant, it's not going to be booster speed, so I am actually going to be faster. I think about Terra, but I just decide to save it. And I go for a Sludge Bomb here, which actually knocks this thing down to its freaking Focus Sash, which is so annoying. I thought I was going to be able to just one-shot this, or I was scared it was Choice Scarfed maybe, but they actually just go for a close combat, and that's going to take me out. But I know that they will die to the Sandstorm Chip because they only have 1 HP left, so that is going to take out my Darkrai, but not without taking down some big threats himself. Except the Sandstorm goes away this turn. So it freaking lives on 1 HP, and all I have that could outspeed this is the Quick Attack now on my Zangoose, so thank God I have that. Because I was really banking on the Sandstorm really pulling this one in for me. So I just go for the Quick Attack here. That's going to take out this last little bit of HP this thing has. But again, it's kind of like a momentum sink, because now I'm like kind of nothing against whatever they have. And as they bring in this Meowscarada, I think about doing a Quick Attack just to get my damage off, but I basically have no reason to not switch into Corviknight here. I'm sorry, I actually switch into Cinderace because I want to sack it. I don't want to hard switch Corviknight in because I don't want to take any unnecessary chips. So I come in, I just die because my boots got knocked off earlier, so I am weak to the rocks. And now I get like a free switch into Corviknight, basically. They go for the Chilling Water, which is important. Because I was like, oh, this is a special attacking Meowscarada. I never have seen this before. So I'm kind of glad I went into the Cinderace to scout. So now I go into my Florges, because with my Assault Vest, I'm like, well, I can definitely take, you know, anything from this. Any special attack from this, anyways. So I just go right for the Moonblast. I figure it's just my biggest damage if they switch. But they go for a Flower Trick, which reveals It's going to be like a mixed attacking one with Chilling Water and Flower Trick. So my Moonblast does a ton of damage to it. And now as I go into Corviknight, I'm like, well, now I'm going to go into Corviknight, because if the only special attack they have is Chilling Water, I can take any special attack. And I kind of imagine they try to finish me off with a Flower Trick. So I come in, I take a little from the rocks. Pressure is up, we're pressuring them. And they go for a Flower Trick again, which is going to just do 10 damage to me. I double resist, I don't have any Iron defenses up, but I just go for a Roost here. I want to try to get my health back if I can live a weak attack from this Meowscarada. They go for a knockoff, but they've already... They proteined into a water type with the Chilling Water, so they're actually not even a dark type anymore. So I do decide to just body press this thing. I'm like, well, they can't really do anything to me, and I'm just going to body press. And as they switch into the Goodra here, I kind of wasn't expecting that, because this thing can't really take a lot of body presses, but as they switch in, my body press does just under half to it, and I consider going for an Iron defense, but I don't want to take any special attacks from this thing, so I just go for another one, and I get the high roll that time. It's no crit or anything, so it just knocks out the Goodra. Now all they have left is this Meowscarada that we know can't touch us, and that's we kind of did it again, where we eliminated everything that can really do any damage to Corviknight, and then Corviknight just kind of goes wild. So as they bring back in the Meowscarada, all they can do is sit in here and take it, but they decide to flee. They couldn't take one anyways. And that's going to bring us into our bonus battle here. And this is like a bonus match. It kind of runs the video long, but I wanted to show this battle a lot because this is a really gimmicky team I'm up against. They have two Choice Scarf Dittos. So as they open with their first Ditto, I open with my Ambipom here. I try to get a Fake Out off, but if they're Choice Scarf, they're actually going to be faster than me. And they decide to get their Fake Out off first, but if they're Choice Scarf, they are now locked into Fake Out, which only works on the first turn that you're in a battle. So I just go for a knockoff here, anticipating a switch. And as they do switch, it's going to be into their Amoonguss here, and the knockoff is going to be nice just to knock off anything's item. So as I do get my knockoff here, it's going to do a little bit of chip, not a whole lot. It does hurt me a lot with the helmet, so I'm kind of taking a lot of damage here with my monkey on this first turn. And I just go for a U-turn here to do a little more chip. I don't really want to get put to sleep or toxic on anything, but if I have anything that can be put to sleep and like just kind of sit in front of this thing, it's going to be my Clodsire. This is a bit of a different team than what I was using in the earlier video, but I decided to go to my Clodsire here. I'm like, this thing can't really touch Clodsire at all, and if they put me to sleep, it's like no big deal. So I decided to switch into it. Come in nice and brown, and they actually toxic, which is awesome. It's not going to affect me, and I want to get my Stealth Rocks up here. I know they have an Espeon in the back, but my team doesn't really care about Stealth Rocks, so I just go for it anyways. And I'm like, even if it gets set up on my side, it's no big deal. And they actually do bring in the Espeon here. It comes in, and it's going to bounce those Stealth Rocks right back. I do get Espeon'd a bit. And Shiny Espeon is cool, I like the green color, but now I have rocks on my freaking side, and I decided to just Earthquake into this thing. I figure probably it can't do anything to me. They actually Thunder Wave, expecting a switch, which doesn't affect me because I'm a ground type, and I do get a big chip off here with Earthquake. And even if Espeon has Psychic, it won't do a lot to me, so I decide to just Earthquake again. I just check to see if I'm Terra Dark. I am, so in case they have like Psyshock or something, I can Terra Dark to avoid the Psyshock. But they actually switch here, probably revealing that they don't have anything to hit me really hard. So as they switch back into the Amoonguss here, it kind of doesn't matter because I'm like, well, whatever. So I decide to Earthquake, and I kind of like it doesn't matter because I can sit in front of this Amoonguss like all day long. So I just go for a Stealth Rock again, kind of imagine the Amoonguss to like put me to sleep or something, but they switch again. They switch back into the Espeon. They really want to stop me from getting my rocks up, which is fine. You know, they can do whatever they want. But they Stealth Rock here, and it's going to bounce back, but the Stealth Rocks are already on my side, so like I get nothing, nobody gets anything out of that turn. So I just go for an Earthquake again. This is the longest Clodsire ever sat in the field, just sitting out here. And they go for a Baby Doll Eyes. That's probably the best thing they have to hit me with. That's going to reveal Baby Doll Eyes, Thunder Wave. I guess no Psychic coverage on this, but as I Earthquake, I expect them to go for Baby Doll Eyes again, so I switch into my Iron Bundle here. If that's all they can do to me is Baby Doll Eyes, but they actually switch themselves, and they're going to bring back in the freaking Amoonguss. who has the ability Regenerator, so it's just back at full again. And I actually switch into my Iron Bundle, so that puts me in a really good spot against this thing, and Iron Bundle looks really good into this team, just with, like, Ice Beams and stuff. So as I come with my Iron Bundle, I am heavy-duty boots, so the rocks mean nothing to me. And I just click Ice Beam here, I'm like, there's no reason to not Ice Beam. I can, you know, it'll do a ton of damage to whatever wants to come in. And as they do take the Ice Beam here, it's going to just knock them out from full, so... The Amoonguss, it was a crit, and that might have mattered, but it might have mattered if they were especially defensive. We know they weren't Assault Vest because they clicked Toxic, so that's going to take care of the Amoonguss, who was kind of like a problem for this team in terms of, like, I don't want anything getting put to sleep or anything. And now they go into one of their Dittos again, who's going to come in and become my Iron Bundle. And I know that they're going to be faster than me, and I can take any attack from my own Iron Bundle, so I just flip turn out of here, just to get, like, the slower pivot off, to guarantee nothing comes in. And they actually freeze dry, which does a ton of damage to me. It doesn't kill me, but it does do a ton of damage because Iron Bundle is really weak on the special side, like special defense. So as I switch here with my flip turn, it's going to let anything get in safe. And as I kind of go into whatever I want, I decide to go into my Clodsire again. I want to try to get my rocks up. And I know that this thing, if it's locked into freeze dry, it's not going to be able to do like a ton of damage to me. And max special defense on this, so even like a super effective freeze dry isn't going to do anything. And I just go for an Earthquake to get some damage off, because I kind of imagine the switch into Espeon. And they do go back into Espeon here. They've gone into Espeon every time that I've clicked a Stealth Rock, so I click Earthquake this time. And they come in on the Earthquake, and that's actually going to just take out the Espeon completely, which is awesome. And now I can basically get up my rocks whenever I want to. But, as you'll see, I don't. So they can go into whatever they want. They bring in their own Iron Bundle, which is going to be a cool shiny one, and it has the freaking booster energy. So it's going to be booster speed, and that's going to make it faster than my whole team, and super scary. I don't really have anything that I want to like hard switch into this, so I just go for a Toxic. I figure my best play is to just Toxic this and try to like let it take as much Toxic damage as I can. So I do go for Toxic here, and that's going to kind of put them on like a timer, and then if I can chip them down, and then I have like Fake Out and stuff with the Ambipom, so I can kind of like stall those Toxic turns. But they do take a little from the Toxic this turn. I heal a little from my leftovers. I switched from Black Sludge to leftovers because I actually found myself Terra-ing a lot on this. And they Encore me into Toxic, which sucks, but again, I'm going to heal a little more from my leftovers. And I'm max special defense, so there's not really a lot they can necessarily do to me with the Encore. I'm stuck in here with them, but also like they're stuck in here taking Toxic Chip every turn. And if I just if I stay in here and keep clicking Toxic and they switch, it's going to get something on their end getting Toxic, or they're just going to sit in and keep taking this Toxic Chip on the Iron Bundle, which I will of course always take. Another Freeze Dry is going to do a bunch to me, and I'm just going to sit in here and stay. I can take a couple more, and that's going to just rack up more and more Toxic Chip on this Iron Bundle. And eventually they are going to be able to take me out, but this Toxic Chip is just going to rack up more and more each turn, so... And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with getting rid of the fastest, scariest Pokemon on their team. And as they Freeze Dry now, that's going to knock me down to 55, and... Now my Encore is going to end this turn, but another Freeze Dry is going to take me out. And my Leftovers is not going to save me this time, but it is going to look. They're super low on health from the Toxic, so it was kind of worth it just using up my Clodsire for this. I wish I had been able to get my Stealth Rocks up, but or recover. If I had been able to recover, I would have been able to sit here all day in front of this thing. But it doesn't matter. The Toxic is going to knock them down just to a sliver, and I can basically come in and fake this out with my Ambipom. I am not super scared of this Iron Bundle now that it's almost dead. I did have used my whole Clodsire. Maybe I should have Terra'd, but it wouldn't have mattered. And as I fake out here, they also didn't click any water moves into me. Probably they were scared of Water Absorb, but I'm actually unaware on my Clodsire. So I go for a fake out here just to take care of that last bit of health. And they're actually going to pull out the Terra, which is not expected on this Pokemon with such low health. And it is going to be Terra Ghost, which is so specific and unique. Because either I kill them or they die this turn from the poison. So as I do my fake out, it goes right through them. This Ambicom has not been really helpful at all this match. And as they U-turn, it's going to knock me down to 5 HP, but the Iron Bundle can come back in whenever, but it's going to die to that poison, so I'm not super concerned about it. And now they can bring in whatever they want. That was a cool U-turn instead of flip turn, I guess, to avoid like water absorb Pokemon. And Palmont here is going to be a problem for me. I do go for a double hit. I can probably get some big damage off, but they have fake out, which is so interesting. Over Mach Punch, I guess, which is crazy to me, but maybe fake out is better sometimes. And now I can go into whatever I want. I do decide to bring in Metagross here. I figure this thing probably can't do a ton of damage to me unless it has like Fire Punch or something, and an Earthquake is going to do a lot to this, so I do just click Earthquake here. I know it'll do enough to this, and then a ton of damage to anything that like switches in. And they actually go for Revival Blessing, which is a move that I like forgot exists, and it's gonna let them bring any Pokemon that they have back to life, and they bring the freaking Espeon back to life that I just got rid of with my Clodsire. Now I have no Clodsire to kind of wall that thing, and as they have the Focus Sash on this, so they can take one more attack, but then they have this on low HP, the Iron Bundle's on low HP, and I'm like, everything they have is on low HP. So they go for another Earthquake. They go for an Ice Punch, which might be their only attack aside from Fake Out. They saw Fake Out, Ice Punch, and Revival Blessing. Maybe its last move is like... I'm not sure. One more Earthquake is going to take it out, and the only problem now is they have that Espeon alive, but they bring in one of their Dittos here, and I kind of see what they're trying to do with these Dittos is they can keep switching around, but if I can force the Ditto to become my Metagross, I know that my own Corviknight is like completely untouchable to the Metagross. So I'm switching to my Corviknight here, and they can do whatever they want to me with this Metagross, but it's not going to be able to do enough. And I also resist all its moves. I'm immune to Earthquake. And they go for Psychic Fangs, which does barely any damage to me. And then I also have the Rocky Helmet, so they're going to take chip from that too. And if I can kind of keep the Dittos in that position where they can't touch my Corviknight, I can kind of manufacture like a Corviknight win. So I go for a U-turn here, kind of expecting a switch. I don't imagine they stay in on that, especially if they're Scarfed. But they hard switch into, they decide to sack Iron Bundle here as I U-turn, which is going to... not do a lot of damage, but it's going to do enough to kill the Iron Bundle. So there goes the Iron Bundle. Down goes, they can't Terra with anything else now. And I do decide to go into my Metagross here as all they can go into is Espeon and one of their other Dittos. So if I can make their Ditto become my Metagross, who comes back in and is like levitating, by the way, that would be awesome, because then I can kind of wall it with my own Corviknight. So they do go back into their Ditto. They are going to become my Metagross, but I believe they're Choice Scarf just from the way they're switching around and stuff. I think that they have to lock themselves into a move. So I basically have no reason not to hard switch into Corviknight here, just because I don't want to take any damage that I don't have to on my Metagross. And if they do click Earthquake just like as a fluke, I'm kind of screwed. Because I need to keep my Metagross alive so I can keep having their Ditto become my Metagross. So that I can beat my own Metagross with Corviknight. And as I go back into Corviknight, they are going to click Earthquake, which is awesome. It's going to make me immune. And they probably lock into that. So I just go for another U-turn. It's going to keep U-turning around here as they hard switch now. And they actually bring in Espeon this turn, which is funny because they saw me click U-turn the last time they switched. So they come into Espeon, they're at half health from the Revival Blessing, but the U-turn is actually going to be enough to kill the Espeon. So that's going to take out their Espeon, and now they only have 2 Dittos, so I can basically go into my Metagross and force their Ditto to become my Metagross and just wall it with my Corviknight. They have 2 Dittos left. I thought those 2 Dittos were going to be like more of a crazy thing. They could have double switched sometimes, but it would have required a lot of predictions. And also them becoming my Corviknight wouldn't be so bad, just because Corviknight, they can only click one attack at a time, so they have to lock themselves to like Body Press or something. So they come in, they become my Metagross again, and you guys know the drill. I'm just gonna hard switch back into my Corviknight. I know that I actually switch into Iron Bundle here as a sack because I wasn't sure what they were going to try to do. So I switch into my Iron Bundle here. Just a sack to get in my Corviknight. I could have hard switched into Corviknight. I don't know why I didn't. They lock themselves in a Meteor Mash here, which doesn't get the attack raise, thankfully, and now I can kind of wall this with my Corviknight. And I'm gonna be honest, I think at this moment they stepped away from the game, or left the game or something, because the battle timer just kind of runs down. You'll see here, 2 minutes left till the battle timer ends, and they end up clicking Meteor Mash again, which makes me think that they're just not clicking anything. Now it says 1 minute left until the battle ends, but we kind of have them in a good position. If we could keep, making them transform into my Metagross, my own Corviknight beats my Metagross. I just thought that was cool. A cool thing to include. And they are going to let the battle timer run out. They don't click a move, I don't think. But I do. And I have more Pokemon alive, so I do get the win on that, which doesn't really matter that bad. But that's going to be all. Thanks, guys, so much for watching. This is kind of a longer video. I hope you guys stayed around a bit. If you stayed all the way to the end, let me know what your favorite color is, and I'll tell you mine. It's purple. Alright, I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.